If I had to pick only one camera and two lenses to do a wide variety of YouTube hobo life tactics, I would then defer to a list that I just made in my pocket.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
May the Sony autofocus gods be with us this night. It's been a while. It's been a while. I've never vlogged with the A7S III. What I find, now that I shoot with the Canon EOS R at home, it's like built-in studio, has the mic arm. I always use that now for making YouTube videos at home, but if I need any like B-roll around the house, I'll bring out the A7S. And why wouldn't this be the vlogging option for me? Is it the Stabe? Is that why? Sony? So this list, it varies quite a bit in cost because I just pick what I would want in a system. I'm not thinking about money. So some of these dreams are unattainable right now, but let's start off with the first one. Nikon, I've looked around your lineup. The only camera you have that appeals to me is the Z9. Z6 II is not really doing anything for wildlife. It'd probably be just as good for YouTube stuff, but no, I need both. So Z9 with the 400mm 2.8 built-in teleconverter, shoots that up to something higher. And there's my wildlife setup. And to do YouTube life, I've debated this. I lean the old 24mm 1.4 f lens. Had a gold ring on it. I like the focal length. I could do it. I could do it hard. I think those old Nikon F lenses have character. The 3D pop that I need, and the 24 1.4, it reminds me of what I already have, the Canon version of that, probably just as good. I know the 20mm 1.8 f lens is also good. So I would debate between those and maybe a Z lens. Same thing, 20 or 24 1.8s. Still waiting for 1.4 primes there, Nicky boy. So that budget setup would cost roughly $75,000. But the cinema would be yours. Moving on to something a little more affordable. If I'm perusing around the Fuji aisles, I think I stick with my old lover, the XH2S. Although the XT4 was better in a lot of ways. Why didn't I write that down? We got a last second switch to the XT4. I buy that used instead because 4K 60, okay, I'm not blown away, but the 240p was usable and I need that. So the change I would make is I would get that 150 to 600 instead. Hear me out. I do believe the 100 to 400 is the superior lens, but it's older. And the manual focus on the 150 to 600 is much better. It's much more sensitive and doable. And it's not much heavier. I think it might even be sharper. You do get extra reach. You lose some light. But it was a Tony 7.1 at 400. Versus 5.6, that's almost a stop. That's a lot. I regret the decision already, but that's what I would go with. And for vlogging in a living room, I would go with the 16mm 1.4. It's old, it's loud, it yells at you like an old man when you're on his porch. But I don't mind that, and it would be good. That's your lens. It has some 3D pop, not much, but a tiny amount. That got awkward. Why did she go on the road? That was very weird. Weird decision. That would have brought her into my shot, if anything. She could have hid behind my shoulder on the sidewalk. She risked death and fame. Wow. So you saved quite a bit of money on that setup versus the Z9, especially because you can find some of those things used. Probably not the 150 to 600, maybe. I'm sure there's plenty of disappointed Fuji shooters out there who are trying to sell that thing off to their enemies. When it comes to Sony, would I go back to this without animal eye detect, no firmwares in sight, focus breathing comp, missing in action? the blocky focus mode that's unusable, not even being able to be played with? I don't think I would. You know what I would do instead? Sony FX30. Hope to God that I don't need a viewfinder for wildlife, even though I would. It debunks this thing immediately, but I would get the 70 to 200 G Master Mark II for wildlife with all the Sony crops. You'd have something. That'd be much lighter than this setup with the 200 to 600 and more reach, I think. Don't quote me on that. So that's my one lens. And then the 15mm 1.4 for little studio stuff. You could vlog with it. It's 1mm wider than a 16. I could dig it. When it comes to OM system by OMDS, formerly known as Superior Olympus, if I was forced at gunpoint to buy one with somebody else's credit card, I would get the OM1 with the 300mm 24 prime. And to vlog, I think we go Leica 12mm 1.4, just to keep it different from my next item on the Panasonic list. I think that'd be a nice little setup. It might lose you in autofocus sometimes, a lot. I think it would. The EM1 III was better. You'd get decent 4K 60p 10-bit and just utter trash 240 frames, but I'd make it work. The prime. The thing with that lens, the manual focus clutch is worse than just using the linear manual focus. It's a dumb feature, isn't it? So I would turn that off and tape it to a camel. That might be a fun setup. I think I've tried it. I have tried it, didn't I? I tried the 300mm prime, but it was like the worst day ever. Like I saw almost nothing. I got like no footage from it, so I didn't get a good feel, but similar to my Leica 200mm prime, but more reach. There is a squirrel. I brought nothing for him. Oh, that sucks. That sucks indeed. When it comes to old Panny Boy, I think we're pretty close to having the ideal setup already, so I wouldn't change much. Panasonic GH6 with the Leica 200mm prime, 2.8 Tonys of course, and then the Leica 9mm 1.7. It would look better than anything I have. It would be more stable than this. You wouldn't notice a difference, like, oh, this is not full frame. Like, there's too much background blur here already. It would be amazing. The only reason I don't have it is because I buy Panasonic gear from a very secret society, and it's not in stock, that 9mm, from the one place that I need to get it from, deep underground. And that is unfortunate, so we have to wait till 2025 to get it, but I'm looking forward to testing that, maybe. I am leaning towards keeping the GH6, by the way. I know I've had a couple flip-floppy videos. Why you'll sell the GH6? Why GH6 is the best camera ever? I'm a clickbaiting asshole, I know that. But looking around the landscape in this bullshit list, there's nothing that competes with the GH6 for the money. I paid like $4,500 for that setup. GH6, 200mm prime, and an extra battery. You don't beat that. For that price, you don't beat it. Canadian. American dollars? $12. That's a good deal. When it comes to Canon, they have so many interesting options, but I think I would probably choose the R6 Mark II over all the others. The R3, it's kind of too big and weird, and now that I'm looking at the price, even though I ignored it for the Z9, I can't actually picture myself choosing the R3 to actually buy, but it does have the 240 frames per second. Would be nice, but the R6 II is close. Wildlife, 100 to 500, obviously, it's their only option. The 100 to 400 is too budget. You didn't hear that, thanks to DaVinci voice isolation technology. Someone's calling me. That was so annoying. You have no idea. You have no idea the struggle. I don't keep my phone in a pocket ready to be answered. It's in my bag, and when I got a lav mic tethered and I hear that thing, I got like 8 seconds to answer it. That was a delivery, by the way, and I just at the last second got it, but it didn't it was like I had half a second left and I almost got it, and I was like, but then he called back and I was like, oh, so we got it. I got a glass jug. So that Canon 100 to 500, and I would just keep my 24mm 21.4 L lens, original Mark 1, the superior one of the brothers, the stupid upgrade that lost all its character, couldn't write a character in a comic book, you piece of shit. I think that might be one of the more pleasing setups though, for YouTube, Canon skin tones and color science, and then for wildlife, 4K 60, it's not the slowest, but you do have the 180, and that would be quite the difference, going from 60 frames and then punch into, you don't punch in during that moment, but still, I would enjoy it, and it would be less heavy than most of the things I own. So let me know what your 1 camera and 2 lens setup would be, and which of mine do you think would look the best, excluding budget. You don't need to talk about money. Money's free sometimes. Rarely. Still, shop around through my affiliate links. Thankfully, with DaVinci's isolating technology, speeding vehicles that are dangerous to society, going 90 miles an hour. Thankfully, with DaVinci's isolating technology, speeding vehicles that are dangerous to society, going 90 miles an hour in a 30-kilometer zone. Do that math. I wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. I made a list. I'm gonna leave. How was Sony Stabe? Bullshit. Sony skin tones? Disgusting. Exposure? Nothing was good. I'll go. 4K. I'll go.